Hidden truths under our oceans. Pre-human life discovered? We look to the stars in search of mystery, yet the greatest unknown lies right beneath our feet, hidden under waves that cover more than 2/3 of our planet. The ocean is not just water, it is time, it is memory. It is the dark archive of everything that came before us. For centuries, we believed we understood Earth's story, that life began in shallow seas, evolved, and climbed onto land. But as we peer deeper into the abyss, that narrative begins to fracture. New discoveries suggest that the ocean floor holds traces of life older than humanity, perhaps even older than the continents themselves. Some findings hint that entire cycles of life, evolution, and extinction may have occurred long before our species appeared. It's as if the ocean is a second planet, concealed beneath the surface of this one. A world where pressure crushes steel, light vanishes, and time seems to slow to a near stop. A world that has endured cataclysms that erase civilizations, continents, and species, yet kept their secrets sealed in cold silence. Every expedition into this abyss reveals something we never expected. Giant organisms thriving without sunlight, minerals that form in ways physics struggles to explain, fossils buried deep within seabeds that don't match any known evolutionary timeline, even structures that appear engineered, symmetrical, and deliberate, resting thousands of meters below where human hands could ever have built them. At first, scientists dismissed these as coincidences, misread data, geological tricks of perception. But as evidence accumulates, the question grows impossible to ignore. What if Earth's history is not a single timeline, but a series of forgotten worlds, civilizations and life forms lost beneath the tides of time? The idea sounds impossible. Yet the ocean is the perfect vault. Its pressure crushes, its salt corrodes, and its darkness hides. Anything buried there stays hidden, not for centuries, but for eons. Beneath kilometers of sediment, fragments of other epochs may still rest intact, waiting for us to rediscover them, and the timing could not be more urgent. As technology finally allows us to explore deeper than ever before, through drones, deep submersibles, and sonar imaging, the ocean is beginning to give up its oldest secrets. We are mapping underwater landscapes that show evidence of ancient shorelines, entire plateaus, and city-sized formations long submerged by shifting crust and melting ice. Each discovery challenges our understanding of evolution, civilization, and even life itself. Perhaps this is why the ocean continues to haunt our imagination. It is not only a symbol of mystery, it is a mirror. In its depths, we may not just find fossils or ruins, but reflections of what came before us, and warnings of what could come again. Because every civilization that rises must someday fall. Every continent that emerges eventually sinks. And if intelligent life existed before us, whether human, post-human, or something entirely different, the evidence would not vanish into the sky. It would sink quietly into the abyss. So before we look beyond the stars for answers, we must first look down into the dark ancient ocean that gave us life, and that might still be keeping the record of everything that came before. Stay until the end, because the truth about what lies beneath our oceans might change the way we see not just Earth, but ourselves. If this story speaks to something deeper in you, stay. Subscribe, not just to watch, but to witness, because the ocean doesn't hide its secrets forever. It waits for those who are willing to listen. Every new discovery brings us closer to remembering what the Earth has never forgotten. Join us as we descend into the dark to find the light beneath. The Black Genesis, when life began in darkness. Long before the first sunrise, before continents formed or air filled the sky, Earth was a world without light. It was covered in oceans of darkness, hot, toxic, and seemingly lifeless. Yet, somewhere within that black expanse, life began. For decades, scientists believed the spark of creation occurred in shallow, sunlit pools, warm waters where lightning and chemistry conspired to create the first organic molecules. But as exploration technology advanced, a new theory emerged, one far more haunting and profound. Life, it seems, may have started in the dark. At the bottom of the ancient sea, where sunlight has never reached, stand towering structures called hydrothermal vents, black chimneys that spew mineral-rich water heated by the molten heart of the planet. Around these vents, life thrives in total absence of light. Here, bacteria and archaea feed not on photosynthesis, but on chemosynthesis, transforming chemicals into energy. It is a system completely independent of the sun. To human eyes, these places look alien. The vents rise like cathedrals from the seafloor, surrounded by swirling plumes of superheated water. Around them, strange ecosystems flourish. Giant tube worms, translucent shrimp, and blind fish, all sustained by the invisible hand of chemistry. But what makes these vents extraordinary is not their strangeness, it's their familiarity. The conditions they create, heat, pressure, minerals, and complex molecules, mirror what early Earth must have been like billions of years ago. In these modern vents, scientists see a window into the past, an echo of the original cradle of life. Studies suggest that simple organic molecules, amino acids, lipids, nucleotides, can form spontaneously in these environments. Over time, those molecules could have assembled into primitive membranes, then into self-replicating structures, the first living cells. Not in light, but in darkness. Not in warmth, but in pressure. Not under the sky, but beneath it. The idea changes everything. It means that life is not an accident of sunlight. It is a natural consequence of the universe's chemistry. If it could happen here, in the depths of a toxic ocean, then it could happen anywhere, on Europa, Enceladus, or any world where water meets heat. And yet, this theory carries an even deeper implication. If life began in such environments, in the planet's hidden heart, then the ocean may not just be where life started. It may still be where life restarts. Each time Earth has faced extinction, whether through asteroid impact, volcanic winter, or ice age, the surface life vanished, but the deep survived. Protected by pressure, shielded from catastrophe, these vent ecosystems endured. The ocean floor became the planet's memory, its biological safehouse through cycles of destruction and renewal. That resilience forces us to reconsider what life truly is. It is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is the universe's most persistent instinct, to organize, to adapt, to continue. The deep ocean was its first temple, and perhaps its last refuge. When we peer into those abyssal plains today, we are not just exploring another ecosystem. We are staring into the reflection of the first spark, the moment when the inanimate became alive. It is both humbling and unsettling to realize that everything, every heartbeat, every thought, every civilization, began here, in black water under crushing weight, in silence broken only by the hiss of heat and the whisper of creation. The ocean remembers. It has seen life rise, fall, and begin again. And it may still hold evidence of what came before, perhaps even of other beginnings that didn't lead to us. What if we are not the first expression of life to emerge from Earth's depths? What if the ocean has created and buried civilizations long before ours? The deeper we go, the older the story becomes. The ocean before time. Fossils that shouldn't exist. Deep beneath the ocean floor, buried under miles of sediment and pressure, lie traces of life that should not exist. Microscopic fossils, molecular remnants, and biological structures that appear to belong to a time before known history, before the Earth we recognize. They tell a story of origins far older, far stranger, and far less linear than we were ever taught. When oceanographers drill into the seabed to collect core samples, they're not just retrieving mud. They're pulling up pages from Earth's hidden archive. Each layer represents a chapter of geological time, written not in ink, but in dust, minerals, and the remains of the living. As we read deeper into that archive, the story becomes distorted. Timelines blur, familiar species vanish, and new ones appear that defy the evolutionary sequence we thought we understood. Some of the most confounding finds come from deep biosphere sediments, layers that should be sterile. Yet, When examined under microscopes, they reveal fossilized microorganisms that don't match any known lineage. Their cell walls contain unique isotopic signatures, and their molecular patterns hint at metabolisms unknown to modern biology, as if they were relics from a different version of life. Even more disturbing are the radiometric dates. Some samples extracted from depths over 2 miles below the seabed appear to be older than the rocks that contain them. The data shouldn't be possible, and yet repeated testing by independent teams has confirmed the anomaly. In 2017, a Japanese research team drilling in the Mariana Trench discovered microbial fossils trapped in rock strata estimated to be over 4 billion years old, older than Earth's oldest known surface rocks. These microfossils display organized structure and carbon isotope ratios consistent with biological activity. But according to geological models, the oceanic crust at those depths should have recycled long ago. So how did they survive? Some scientists propose that these organisms belong to an ancient biosphere that existed before Earth's last planetary reset, before the impact that created the moon, or before the global oceans themselves stabilized. Others suggest they might have originated elsewhere, delivered by meteorites that seeded the oceans with life long before Earth's own environment was ready. If true, it implies something extraordinary, that life on Earth may have emerged not once but many times, in cycles of creation and erasure stretching back into prehistory, each era leaving faint, conflicting traces, like overlapping inscriptions carved into the same stone. But what's most haunting is not the fossils themselves, it's their silence. Some of these deep biosphere microorganisms have been reawakened in laboratory conditions after being trapped for tens of millions of years. They stirred, divided, and lived again, as though they had simply been waiting. What were they waiting for? The ocean floor is unlike any other archive. On land, erosion and tectonics erase history, but in the deep, time accumulates. Every extinction, every flood, every planetary upheaval leaves behind a record, compacted into the seabed's memory. If entire phases of life once flourished before humanity, the evidence would not lie in desert ruins or crumbling fossils. It would sleep beneath miles of pressure and salt. Some discoveries even hint at something larger. Fragments of large-scale biological structures embedded in deep strata, with cellular complexity exceeding that of known single-celled life. Their geometry suggests organization, perhaps even collective intelligence. Were these early experiments in complexity, life forms that evolved before multicellularity as we know it? Or are we seeing remnants of something that never should have existed on this planet at all? Whatever they are, one truth grows harder to ignore. The deeper we dig, the older and more alien Earth's story becomes. The ocean is not a record of what we know. It's a record of what we've forgotten. And if fossils from impossible ages can still whisper through stone, what else lies waiting below, perfectly preserved beyond our imagination? The line between past and myth may be much thinner than we think. The lost archives, what the seafloor remembers. The ocean floor is not just the bottom of the sea, it is the planet's memory, a vast geological archive where time never truly passes. Every grain of sediment, every fossil fragment, every mineral deposit records an event in Earth's deep history. Yet most of that history is hidden, sealed beneath miles of pressure and darkness, waiting to be read. Unlike the continents, which are endlessly reshaped by erosion and tectonic activity, the seafloor preserves its layers like pages in a book that no one has yet opened. Sonar mapping and deep-sea drilling have revealed that these layers stretch across entire ocean basins, forming continuous records that extend back hundreds of millions of years. Some even carry the magnetic fingerprints of Earth's shifting poles, proof that the planet's own core has reversed itself again and again. But there's something else written in those layers, something not found in textbooks. Geological anomalies appear throughout the ocean crust. Isotopic spikes that don't match known volcanic or meteor impacts, sudden rises in mineral concentrations that suggest large-scale industrial activity, and traces of rare metals that don't occur naturally in oceanic rock. To some scientists, these are quirks of chemistry or poorly understood tectonic events. To others, they could be signatures of forgotten epochs, eras when civilizations or forms of intelligence unlike ours may have thrived and perished long before the surface world took shape. This idea that the ocean might hold evidence of pre-human activity is controversial but not impossible. The seafloor forms slowly, about 2 centimeters per year. Over millions of years, continents drift, climates shift, and coastlines vanish. Entire land masses can be swallowed by rising seas or subducted beneath tectonic plates, dragging with them the remnants of whatever once lived or built upon them. There are places on Earth, the North Atlantic Ridge, the Sunda Shelf, the South Pacific Trenches, where the seabed displays symmetrical structures and right-angled ridges that defy easy geological explanation. Some appear to mirror coastlines that no longer exist. Were they once connected? Or are we seeing the buried foundations of something that the Earth itself has tried to forget? Sediment core analyses have also uncovered sudden layers of soot, ash, and microplastics-like residues in deposits predating known industrial activity by hundreds of thousands of years. Their chemical patterns suggest high-temperature processes, consistent with combustion or material synthesis. Processes we associate with intelligence, but intelligence of what kind? Perhaps the most haunting discovery is the realization that Earth has a built-in way of erasing its own past. Through subduction, oceanic crust slowly sinks into the mantle, melting and recycling itself. Every 200 million years, the seafloor renews entirely. It's as if the planet periodically clears its memory, burying the evidence of anything that came before. Yet not everything is lost. Some fragments escape recycling, trapped in subduction-resistant regions called oceanic plateaus. These plateaus could be the last surviving witnesses of entire lost ages, preserved by the planet's shifting crust. They are geological time capsules, silent, stable, and almost unreachable. If we could extract their stories, what would they tell us? Would we find the echoes of ancient ecosystems, or the remnants of something built, something that thought? The seafloor is not just rock and sediment. It's a palimpsest, a surface written over countless times, yet still faintly showing the lines of its earlier scripts. Every new expedition uncovers another fragment, an object, a fossil, a pattern that shouldn't exist, and yet does. It's as if the Earth is whispering to us through its oldest scars, telling us that what we call prehistory is only the last readable chapter in a much longer book. And if the ocean remembers what the continents have forgotten, then the truth of who, or what, came before us may not be lost at all. It may simply be waiting to be found again. The forbidden depths, when science meets the impossible. The deeper we go, the stranger it gets. At first, scientists thought the ocean's mysteries could be solved through exploration, through maps, data, and samples. But as we descended beyond the reach of light, we began to find things that defied not only logic, but science itself. The abyss does not simply hide the unknown, it rewrites what is possible. In 1997, a series of low-frequency sounds known as the bloop was recorded in the South Pacific. The noise was unlike anything heard before, louder than any known animal, yet too organic to be tectonic or mechanical. For years, it was dismissed as an icequake. Then, decades later, other sounds emerged. Julia, upsweep, and whistle, each with patterns, repetition, and rhythm. Nature rarely repeats with such precision. Something in the deep was moving, communicating, or perhaps warning. But sound is only the beginning. As our technology reaches further into the abyss, remote vehicles capture images that defy biology and physics alike. Metallic spheres embedded in basalt, honeycomb-like structures carved into ocean rock, hollow tubes rising from the seafloor with geometric symmetry. When first discovered, researchers labeled them pseudo-fossils, naturally occurring formations. Yet their spacing, composition, and perfect alignments suggest a different origin. Some of these finds, when carbon dated, return impossible results, readings older than the crust that contains them. Others show isotopic ratios consistent with manufactured alloys, not natural mineral blends. If they are geological, they are unlike any process Earth currently produces. If they are artificial, then they were created by something we cannot explain. Scientists avoid such conclusions, not because the evidence is lacking, but because the implications are too vast. To accept them would mean accepting that Earth's oceans once held, or still hold, forms of intelligence beyond human comprehension. The Hadal Zone, deeper than 6,000 meters, remains the least explored region of the planet. In these trenches, cameras occasionally record movements too large and too fast for known species. Objects reflecting light where no light should exist. Streams of particles moving against current and gravity. Most of these anomalies are filtered out as technical interference, but not all of them. During a 2019 deep-sea probe off the coast of Micronesia, a submersible captured a structure resembling a smooth, arched doorway, almost 15 meters tall, embedded in a cliffside 2 miles below. It appeared metallic, symmetrical, and deliberate. When the craft returned to the site 2 days later, the formation was gone. The surrounding sediment had shifted as if disturbed. No quake was recorded. No collapse detected, only silence. These events are rarely publicized, often buried in institutional archives labeled as instrumental anomalies. Yet they persist across research agencies, nations, and decades. Each discovery dismissed individually. Collectively, they form a pattern, one too deliberate to ignore. So what are we truly encountering in the abyss? Unknown species, ancient machines, geological processes we have yet to understand, or perhaps remnants of something older, not extraterrestrial but pre-human, born of the same planet, from a chapter erased by time and pressure. If life began in the dark, perhaps it never left. Perhaps it evolved downward, adapting to pressure, heat, and secrecy. A civilization beneath the surface, not of the past, but of the present. The truth may be simpler, yet more terrifying. The ocean might be alive in ways we cannot yet define, an intelligent system, self-organizing and self-preserving, reacting to our intrusion. Every time we dive deeper, it feels as though something is watching. The instruments glitch. The signal weakens. The sea reminds us that some doors should not be opened. And still, we go deeper. Because we must. Because to understand who we are, we have to uncover what came before us, no matter what waits in the dark. The vanished civilizations beneath the waves. Across every ocean, there are ruins, vast, silent, and half-buried beneath the sand. Stone formations with angles too precise, alignments too perfect, and carvings too deliberate to be random. For centuries, myths have spoken of lost cities beneath the waves, of Atlantis, Mu, Lemuria. Most dismissed them as legends. But what happens when data begins to align with myth? In 1986, divers off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan, discovered a colossal staircase-like structure rising from the seabed. Massive rectangular blocks stacked in geometric precision, their surfaces etched with what appears to be tool marks. Geological surveys claimed it was natural erosion, yet independent marine archaeologists found patterns resembling temples, roadways, and courtyards, perfectly aligned to the cardinal directions. Elsewhere, sonar imaging has uncovered submerged plateaus near India's Gulf of Cambay, off the coasts of Cuba, Malta, and the Bahamas. Beneath layers of sediment, these sites reveal what appear to be ancient urban grids, symmetrical foundations, canals, and domes buried tens of meters below sea level. Radiocarbon dating of artifacts recovered from these areas suggests ages ranging from 12,000 to 20,000 years, far older than the earliest known civilizations. Conventional history insists that complex society began around 5,000 years ago. But if these findings are accurate, humanity, or something very much like it, achieved organized architecture, trade, and culture at the edge of the Ice Age. When sea levels rose by over 120 meters at the end of the last glacial period, entire coastlines vanished, taking any trace of those cultures with them. Could these have been the first civilizations erased by the planet's own rhythm? If so, their story may not have ended, only sunk. Ancient flood myths from cultures around the world share eerie similarities. A great deluge, the loss of knowledge, the rebirth of humanity. In Sumerian tablets, in Hindu texts, in Native American legends, even in Plato's dialogues, the same motif appears: an advanced world consumed by rising water. What if these are not metaphors but memories? Echoes of a time when humanity faced annihilation and the sea claimed everything. Satellite scans of the seafloor show linear ridges and circular depressions that resemble foundations, harbors, and roadways. Some lie at depths exceeding 300 meters, places that have not been above sea level in more than 10,000 years. Others are clustered near ancient river deltas, suggesting deliberate settlement patterns. And then there are the monoliths, solitary stones found standing upright in perfect alignment with celestial coordinates, often near these submerged sites. In the Mediterranean, the Baltic, and off the coasts of South America, researchers have found pillars carved from rock types not native to their locations. Their placement suggests astronomical purpose, perhaps calendars or markers of equinoxes long before recorded civilization. If all of this is coincidence, it's an extraordinary one. But if not, then history itself is incomplete. Perhaps what we call prehistory is simply history lost to the ocean, entire chapters submerged when ice melted and the earth reshaped itself. The people who built these monuments may not have vanished completely. Fragments of their knowledge could have survived, passed down through oral tradition, eventually reborn in Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Andes. The first civilizations we recognize may only be descendants of survivors. The ocean hides no ruins for eternity. Currents shift. Sand moves. With each passing decade, technology uncovers more, not less. The picture forming beneath the waves is one of continuity, not coincidence. If entire worlds once stood where the sea now reigns, then every coastline we see today is only temporary, a fleeting moment between one flood and the next. Civilization, it seems, has always been at the mercy of the tides. And every rise of water is a reminder that what has happened before can happen again. The ocean that connects worlds, alien life in Earth's mirror. When we dream of discovering alien life, we look to the stars, to frozen moons and distant planets orbiting foreign suns. But the most alien world we know is already here. It covers 70% of our planet, and we have barely touched it. The deep ocean is Earth's own extraterrestrial realm, cold, lightless, and governed by laws that border on the unknown. It is within these depths that scientists have found the closest analogs to alien ecosystems. Around hydrothermal vents, life thrives without sunlight, fueled by chemical energy alone. Entire food webs exist without photosynthesis, proving that biology doesn't need a star. If it can happen here, it can happen anywhere. This realization has transformed the way we search for life beyond Earth. The icy moons Europa and Enceladus, orbiting Jupiter and Saturn, both harbor subsurface oceans beneath their frozen shells. Plumes of water vapor, rich in organic molecules, erupt from their surfaces. Inside those hidden seas, conditions mirror Earth's own abyssal vents. Heat from their rocky cores, mixed with liquid water and minerals, could create the same chemical alchemy that first birthed life here. In a sense, the ocean is universal. Wherever water meets energy, life follows. Our planet is not an exception. It is a blueprint. But as we explore deeper into Earth's own ocean, we are finding forms of life that already blur the line between the terrestrial and the alien. Microbes that survive in extreme acidity, in boiling water, or under pressures thousands of times greater than the surface. Jellyfish that generate electricity. Creatures that can freeze solid for decades, then awaken unscathed. Even bacteria that feed on metals and produce magnetic crystals. Living compasses built by evolution itself. If we found these organisms on another planet, we would call them alien without hesitation. Yet they are ours. They belong to Earth, and perhaps to something even larger. The similarities between our oceanic worlds and the icy moons of the outer solar system suggest something profound. That life is not rare. It may be the universe's most common language, a recurring expression of chemistry that begins wherever darkness meets heat and water. The same process that created us may be happening right now in the subsurface seas of Europa, the methane lakes of Titan, or the hidden oceans of exoplanets orbiting faraway stars. And still, a deeper question lingers. What if the relationship between our oceans and theirs is not merely symbolic? What if they are connected not physically, but through shared ancestry? Some researchers have speculated that the building blocks of life, amino acids, lipids, sugars, may have come to Earth from space, carried by comets that once collided with icy moons and planets before reaching us. If that's true, then our ocean and theirs are cosmic siblings born from the same primordial chemistry. But there's another possibility, one far more unsettling. What if life here was not seeded from above but from below? What if Earth's ocean is not just an incubator of biology, but a gateway, a planetary system that occasionally releases its creations into the stars through meteor impacts and planetary exchange? In that case, we would not be looking for alien life at all. We would be looking for our own reflection, scattered across the cosmos. This perspective transforms everything. The ocean is no longer just a part of Earth. It is part of the universe's grand experiment, the connective tissue between worlds. Every deep-sea vent, every drop of salt water, every molecule of life within it may be a message, a cosmic signature written in chemistry. Perhaps when we finally find life beyond Earth, it will not be a stranger. It will be familiar, born of the same darkness, following the same laws, carrying the same spark. And maybe when that day comes, we will realize that we were never truly alone. The ocean beneath our feet has always been whispering the truth, that life, wherever it exists, is one unbroken current flowing through the universe, changing form, but never origin. The pressure of eternity, life at the limits. The ocean is not gentle. It is a crushing, relentless force that tests the limits of existence itself. At its deepest point, nearly 11 kilometers down, the pressure is more than 1,000 times greater than at the surface. Every square centimeter of space is under tons of weight. Metal bends, glass implodes, sound itself becomes distorted. Yet, somehow, life endures. In these depths, where temperature nears freezing and sunlight cannot reach, scientists have discovered organisms so strange they seem to belong to another universe. Single-celled creatures larger than grains of sand, transparent fish with organs visible through their skin, crustaceans that glow like embers in complete darkness. They live, feed, reproduce, and die in an environment where no human could survive a single heartbeat. Their resilience redefines what we think life can withstand. Bacteria recovered from the Mariana Trench have survived pressures that crush steel. When brought to the surface, they die not from suffocation, but from the absence of pressure. For them, the crushing weight of the deep is not a threat. It is life itself. It is here, in this realm of extremes, that we find a profound reflection of existence. The deeper we look, the more we realize that life adapts not by resisting pressure, but by becoming one with it. Evolution is not rebellion. It's surrender with purpose. These organisms do not fight the deep. They are shaped by it, designed for it, inseparable from it. And perhaps, in a way, so are we. The same rules that govern life in the ocean's trenches govern our own survival on land and in space. Every challenge, every crisis, every collapse, pressure forces adaptation. It compels transformation. Life has always been defined by what it can endure. But there's something even more remarkable beneath this scientific wonder, something almost philosophical. When we study these creatures, we are looking at living time capsules. Many species in the Hadal zones, the deepest parts of the ocean, have remained unchanged for tens of millions of years. They are survivors not just of environmental extremes, but of history itself. These organisms have endured 5 mass extinctions, surviving planetary catastrophes that wiped out nearly all other life. When asteroids struck, when volcanic ash darkened the sky, when continents drowned, they persisted. The deep protected them. The ocean became a sanctuary against extinction, a biological eternity sealed beneath the waves. In their unbroken lineage, we see life's oldest principle, continuity. From the first cells that formed in hydrothermal vents to the complex creatures swimming in the abyss today, life has never truly stopped. It has only changed its form, moving fluidly between worlds of light and dark, between beginnings and endings. To touch the deep ocean is to touch the unending thread of existence, a chain that stretches backward to the dawn of life itself. Every breath we take, every molecule in our cells, every heartbeat we feel began with those same ancient chemistries that still thrive in darkness today. It is easy to think of the deep sea as lifeless, silent, and remote. But that silence is deceptive. It is not the silence of absence. It is the silence of endurance. The ocean floor is alive with whispers of persistence, with the pulse of organisms that have mastered the art of survival through surrender. And perhaps that is the hidden truth the deep teaches us, that life's greatest strength lies not in conquest, but in adaptation, in the quiet, patient resilience to exist where no one else can. The pressure that should destroy life instead sustains it. In the crushing weight of eternity, the ocean remembers that existence is not fragile. It is inevitable. The sound of the deep. Messages from the abyss. In the deepest layers of the ocean, sound travels farther than light, faster than current, and deeper than thought. Down there, pressure compresses not only matter but silence itself, until every vibration becomes a message. The abyss does not shine. It speaks. The ocean's soundscape is a symphony unlike any other on Earth. Whales sing across thousands of kilometers, using frequencies that wrap around the planet. Crustaceans crackle in coral reefs like static electricity. Earthquakes rumble through the crust, and icebergs fracture with thunderous echoes. But beyond these natural sounds, beneath them, something else can be heard. Since the 1960s, hydrophones have recorded unexplained acoustic phenomena rising from the depths, powerful, patterned sounds that seem to come from nowhere and from something enormous. The most famous was detected in 1997 by NOAA, a massive, low-frequency burst dubbed the bloop. It was so loud it was picked up by sensors more than 5,000 kilometers apart. No whale or machine could produce it. For years, it was a mystery, until it wasn't. Scientists eventually proposed a mundane explanation: the cracking of icebergs. Yet when the same sensors recorded additional sounds, Julia, upsweep, train, whistle, all showing harmonic structures and repeating intervals, the debate reopened. Natural, perhaps, but organized, structured, intentional. Some researchers suggest these sounds are signatures of unknown geophysical processes, underwater volcanoes, methane vents, or tectonic shifts. Others believe they may be biological, signals from undiscovered species, perhaps massive creatures inhabiting the Hadal zones, communicating through vibration and frequency rather than light or sight. But what if these sounds are neither geological nor biological? What if they are something else, the planet itself speaking? Sound is vibration. Vibration is energy. And energy carries information. The ocean floor resonates constantly, humming with the pulse of tides, tectonics, and cosmic influences. Some physicists have even proposed that the Earth behaves like a resonant instrument, vibrating in harmonic modes. If that's true, then the sounds we record in the deep may be planetary memory made audible, the Earth remembering itself through frequency. Yet, there is another layer to this mystery. In 2014, a classified oceanic monitoring system recorded a persistent signal beneath the South Pacific, a rhythmic tone repeating every 6 minutes, lasting nearly 2 months. It originated from a depth of over 9,000 meters. No known animal, geological process, or machine could account for it. The data was declassified years later, but no public explanation was offered. Could it have been an artifact, an echo of human technology? Or was it something deeper, something that existed before human technology even began? Acoustic mapping has revealed vast hollow regions beneath the oceanic crust, enormous cavities that reflect sound in strange ways, as if empty but alive with resonance. Some scientists call them acoustic anomalies. Others avoid the topic entirely. What if the ocean floor isn't solid but porous, a network of chambers where sound becomes storage, where energy lingers long after its source is gone. Could these cavities be natural recorders, preserving the memory of Earth's ancient cataclysms, of voices long extinct, of civilizations drowned by time? Every sound, after all, is a record. Once made, it never truly disappears. It merely fades into lower frequencies. The ocean could be the planet's greatest archive, not of fossils, but of frequencies, storing the echoes of everything that has ever happened beneath its waves. Perhaps that is why so many cultures describe the sea as conscious, as a living entity that listens. The ocean may not speak in words, but it vibrates with awareness, a form of memory that predates thought. If we could learn to interpret its frequencies, to translate its hums and pulses, we might uncover messages older than humanity itself, because in the end, every sound is a signal. And the abyss, it seems, has been calling for a very long time. The Hidden Kingdom, intelligence before humanity. Intelligence did not begin with us. Long before humans appeared, long before mammals even existed, the oceans were already alive with awareness. In their depths, communication, problem-solving, and memory evolved independently, not in primates, but in creatures of the sea. Take the octopus, for instance, a being so alien in its biology that scientists once wondered if it came from another world. Its blood is blue, its body soft, its nervous system decentralized. 2/3 of its neurons are in its arms, allowing each limb to think and act on its own. It can open jars, mimic other animals, use tools, and even recognize individual humans. It dreams in color. And it does all this with a brain structure completely unlike ours. This intelligence is not a recent development. Fossil evidence shows that the ancestors of modern cephalopods emerged over 500 million years ago, at a time when most life on land was still microscopic. Long before trees existed, the ocean was already experimenting with complex cognition. Some researchers believe that octopuses, and perhaps their extinct relatives, represent an entirely separate lineage of intelligence, one that evolved parallel to ours and followed a different evolutionary logic. But cephalopods are only part of the story. Dolphins, whales, and even certain fish display signs of advanced communication, cooperation, and emotion. Humpback whales compose songs that change annually across populations, a kind of cultural evolution unseen in most non-human species. Dolphins call each other by individual names, pass knowledge through generations, and have been observed using tools. This underwater network of intelligence stretches back millions of years, and it may not have been limited to animals we know. Deep-sea fossils hint at neurological complexity in creatures long extinct, forms that show symmetry, segmentation, and cranial cavities disproportionate to body size. These findings are rare, fragile, and often dismissed as anomalies. But if they're real, they suggest something profound, that cognition in some form may have existed long before humanity, perhaps even before land animals walked the earth. It's not impossible. The ocean provides stability, constant temperature, pressure, and protection from cosmic radiation. These conditions allow complex systems to persist for eons. While land-based civilizations rise and fall, the deep ocean remains timeless. Intelligence born there could have had millions of uninterrupted years to evolve, to think, to communicate, to build in ways invisible to us. If such intelligence existed, or still exists, how would we recognize it? Not through architecture or technology, which corrosion and pressure would erase, but through pattern, organized behavior, harmony across species, a coordinated balance too intricate to be coincidence. Marine biologists have observed unexplained mass movements of deep-sea species, migrations synchronized across vast distances, unlinked to tides, temperature, or season. Could these be traces of something greater, something collective? Perhaps intelligence in the ocean does not mirror our own. Perhaps it never needed cities, tools, or fire. It may be ecological, distributed across organisms, woven into the chemistry of water itself. An awareness not confined to one species but shared across an entire biome. A networked consciousness, subtle and enduring, immune to extinction because it transcends individual form. If that is true, then we are not the first to think, merely the first to think this way. Humanity may represent one expression of a universal tendency toward awareness, one that began in the depths and evolved upward, toward light. The idea that the ocean itself may be conscious is not new. Ancient myths spoke of sea gods, of minds beneath the waves. Science, as it often does, may only now be rediscovering the truth hidden in myth. The ocean could be not only the cradle of life, but the continuing mind of Earth. And if that's so, then the rise of human intelligence was not an accident, but a continuation, the surface learning to speak the language of the deep. The return of the deep, when the ocean reclaims the land. The ocean has always been patient. It waits, erodes, advances, and retreats in cycles that last longer than civilizations. While we measure time in years, the ocean measures it in continents. Every rise of sea level, every shifting current, every returning tide is part of a rhythm as old as Earth itself. And that rhythm is repeating again. 12,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age, global temperatures rose, glaciers melted, and the sea reclaimed vast stretches of land. Entire coastlines vanished beneath the waves, the plains of Doggerland between Britain and Europe, the Sunda Shelf that once connected Southeast Asia, and countless islands that became submerged ridges and banks. For the people who lived there, it was the end of the world. For the planet, it was just another exhalation. Now, the same process has begun anew, accelerated not by natural cycles, but by us. Sea levels are rising faster than at any point in recorded history. Glaciers are melting, currents are shifting, and coastlines are dissolving. Cities that once seemed eternal are slowly becoming the next layer of the seabed. The ocean is not angry. It is remembering. It is returning to where it has always belonged. From space, Earth's blue expands each year. Scientists project that, by the next millennium, large portions of our continents will vanish again. The outlines of the world will change, just as they have countless times before. And in that transformation lies a haunting truth. Civilization, for all its progress, is not immune to the same forces that erased those before us. But the ocean's return is not only a story of destruction, it is also a story of renewal. When the sea advances, it does not merely erase, it reshapes. Beneath the waves, coral reefs reclaim submerged cities. Sediments bury the ruins of concrete, turning them into reefs for new life. In time, the relics of our age will become part of the planet's natural architecture, our history absorbed into the memory of the deep. In the long view of time, the ocean is the sculptor and the archive. It buries what must be forgotten, then resurrects what must be remembered. Every submerged ruin, every lost coastline, is a reminder that humanity is not separate from the ocean. We are a temporary expression of its movement, a ripple on its surface. If there were civilizations before us, those that the ocean claimed, their remains now rest beneath miles of water, awaiting rediscovery. Perhaps one day, long after we are gone, new beings will dive into the depths and find our cities as we once found theirs. They will wonder who we were, what we built, and why we vanished. And the ocean, as always, will keep most of the answers to itself. This cycle, emergence, loss, renewal, is not tragedy, but pattern. It's the same rhythm that governs galaxies, stars, and life itself. Everything rises, everything falls, everything begins again. The ocean is not coming to destroy, it is coming to reset. As sea levels climb and coastlines fade, we are witnessing the next turn of that eternal wheel. The land we stand on today was once ocean floor, and will be again. The line between sea and shore has never been permanent. It is a shifting boundary, a mirror reminding us that nothing we build can last forever. And maybe that is the lesson hidden in the waves, that permanence was never the point. The ocean's return is not an ending. It is the continuation of creation. What disappears above the surface is reborn below it. What we lose to the deep becomes part of the Earth's memory, written into its tides and currents. The ocean will take us as it has taken all before us. but in doing so, it will preserve us, in fragments, in silence, in sediment, until the next world rises from its depths. The mirror below. When we look down, we see ourselves. When we look into the ocean, we are not staring into a separate world. We are looking into a mirror. Its depths reflect not only the history of Earth, but the hidden patterns of our own nature. Every current, every tide, every act of creation and destruction within it echoes the way we live, evolve, and remember. Humanity often sees the ocean as something to conquer, a frontier to cross, a resource to exploit, a mystery to solve. Yet in truth, it is our oldest ancestor, our teacher, and perhaps even our reflection. Our bodies are more ocean than land. Salt water runs through our veins. Our blood carries the same balance of minerals as seawater, and our earliest memories, those of evolution, are encoded with the rhythm of the tide. We did not leave the sea. We carry it within us. Every breath we take is connected to it. Half of the oxygen on Earth is produced by marine microorganisms, invisible drifters that form the lungs of the planet. Each cloud above us, each drop of rain, each heartbeat of weather begins with evaporation from the sea. It is not merely the background of our existence. It is our existence. But there is another layer, a psychological one. The ocean's vastness mirrors our consciousness. The surface is calm, bright, and full of movement, like thought. Beneath it lies darkness, pressure, and memory, like the subconscious. We fear the deep because it reflects what we cannot see within ourselves. Every dive into the abyss is also a descent into our own hidden depths. This is why myths about the sea endure. Not because they explain the world, but because they explain us. From the Sumerian Abzu to the Greek Oceanus, from the Maori Tangaroa to the biblical flood, every culture has seen the sea as both origin and judgment, creation and destruction intertwined. The ocean has always represented what humanity cannot control within itself: desire, chaos, memory, rebirth. Modern science, in its precision, often forgets this connection. We study the ocean as a system of chemistry and physics, yet the deeper we explore, the more it begins to resemble a mind, complex, adaptive, alive. Its currents act like neural pathways, transferring energy across the planet. Its tides pulse with the rhythm of celestial forces. Its depths store memory, history, and energy the way the brain stores experience. Perhaps that is why we are drawn to it, why we find calm in its waves and awe in its silence. The ocean is not merely water and salt. It is the physical manifestation of something timeless, the unity between life and the cosmos. When we look at it, we are looking at the process that made us conscious, at the reflection of evolution itself. And when we disturb it, when we pollute, overfish, and exploit it, we are, in a sense, disturbing ourselves. The ocean responds as any living system does, with imbalance, with reaction, with warning. Rising tides and dying reefs are not vengeance. They are communication. The sea is reminding us of a truth we've forgotten, that life is not ours to own, only to share. If we learn to listen again to its frequencies, its rhythms, its stillness, we might rediscover what we lost when we turned our gaze away from it. Because the ocean is not an alien realm, it is the other half of our reflection, the part of us that still remembers the beginning. When we finally understand that, the boundaries between human and nature, surface and depth, will fade. We will no longer look at the sea as something beneath us, but as something within us. For in every drop of ocean water lies the memory of our first breath, and perhaps the echo of our last. The depth that remembers. In the end, every story returns to silence. The ocean, like time itself, does not conclude. It simply continues. Its depths hold the memory of everything that has ever lived, moved, or dreamed. It is the quiet witness of creation, the final keeper of all that vanishes from the surface. The ocean does not forget. It remembers. Each wave that breaks on the shore has touched countless ages. It carries the dust of extinct species, the remnants of ancient rains, the minerals of long-collapsed mountains. Every current is a bridge between worlds, between what was, what is, and what will be. In that movement lies a truth both humbling and profound. The ocean is the memory of the earth itself. When we dive into its depths, we are not exploring a foreign world. We are returning home, to the same waters that once surrounded our ancestors, to the same chemistry that once sparked life in the black vents of the deep. The molecules that compose us were shaped in those ancient tides, billions of years before we learned to give them names. Everything we are, every thought, every heartbeat, is built from matter that once flowed through those unseen depths. The ocean is not outside us. It is within us, whispering through our blood, pulsing with every rhythm of existence. Perhaps that is why its silence feels sacred. It is not the absence of sound, but the presence of everything, layered, ancient, eternal. When we listen closely enough, we can almost hear it breathing, not as water, but as memory. One day, long after we are gone, the ocean will erase our traces as it has erased countless others. Our cities will sink, our monuments will crumble. But that will not be the end. The sea will absorb us, break us down, and carry us forward into new forms. The matter that once built us will return to the cycle, dissolved into salt and sediment, waiting for another beginning. And maybe, millions of years from now, when another world awakens and peers into its own depths, it will find our echoes, not in fossils or ruins, but in the chemistry of its oceans. The story of humanity written in molecular memory, carried endlessly through the current of time. That is the secret the ocean has been keeping since the dawn of life. It is not a tomb, but a womb. Every ending it holds becomes a beginning again. Life is not lost to the sea, it is reborn through it. The ocean remembers everything, the first cell that divided, the first creature that swam, the first consciousness that looked up toward the light. And now, it will remember us, our rise, our discoveries, our mistakes, our awe. It will remember the way we reached for understanding, and the moment we finally realized that the truth we sought beyond the stars was always here, beneath the waves. So when you look at the ocean, when you hear its endless hum against the shore, remember this: you are listening to the oldest voice on earth. It speaks in tides and pressure, in silence and song. It speaks not to warn, but to remind. Because in the end, all things return to the deep, and in that return, nothing is lost. The ocean keeps everything. It remembers.